Welcome to Manila Updates TV. Please subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon for more updates. The morning sun rises over Manila Bay. It is not an ordinary day. Headlines flash across local and international news. Philippines poised to receive first submarine from South Korea. For decades, the Philippine Navy has sailed only above the waves. Now, it might soon patrol below them. Reporters gather at naval headquarters, microphones ready, as officials hint at a possible game-changer. Rumors swirl that the retired South Korean submarine ROKS Jang Bogo could soon call Philippine waters home. Images of sleek black hulls slicing silently through the sea spark national curiosity. Filipinos wonder what this might mean for their country's defense. The Navy's ships are familiar sights, gray silhouettes against the horizon. But a submarine? That is an entirely new chapter in maritime security for the Philippines. It feels like the start of something big. This story is more than just a headline. It is a sign of how the Philippines is looking to the future. In a region where naval power is crucial, this possible submarine transfer could change everything. The excitement is real, but so are the challenges and responsibilities that come with it. The Philippines is a country surrounded by water. Its over 7,000 islands stretch across one of the world's busiest and most contested seas, the South China Sea. For years, maritime security has been a growing concern. Other nations in the region have modern navies with advanced ships and submarines. Meanwhile, the Philippine Navy has struggled with aging vessels and limited technology. The stakes are higher than ever. Disputes over islands, fishing grounds, and sea lanes put constant pressure on the country's maritime forces. The Philippine government knows it must keep up. Modern military equipment is not just about pride. It is about protecting fishermen, defending borders, and upholding national sovereignty. Modernization is urgent because the world is changing fast. New threats, from piracy to gray zone tactics, demand new tools and new training. If the Philippines does not act, its Navy risks falling behind. The government has begun to invest more in defense, but one critical capability has always been missing: submarines. For as long as anyone can remember, the Philippine Navy has sailed only on the surface. Its fleet has included patrol boats, frigates, and the occasional decommissioned cutter from allies. The focus has always been on surface ships and coastal defense. Submarines, however, have remained out of reach. Without submarines, there is a blind spot below the waves. Submarines are known for their stealth. They can watch, listen, and even strike without being seen. Other countries in Southeast Asia, like Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Singapore, already operate submarines. This gives them an edge in surveillance and deterrence. For the Philippine Navy, the lack of submarines is a gap that needs to be filled. Leaders have spoken for years about the dream of a submarine force. Yet budget limits and lack of experience have always stood in the way. Now, with the possible arrival of ROKS Jang Bogo, things might finally start to change. The star of this story is ROKS Jang Bogo, a retired submarine from South Korea. This vessel is not just any submarine. It has a proud history with the Republic of Korea Navy. Named after a famous Korean admiral, Jang Bogo is part of a class that marked South Korea's entry into the world of underwater warfare. South Korea built the Jang Bogo-class in the late 1980s and early 1990s. These submarines were based on a proven German design, the Type 209. Over the years, the Jang Bogo served on many patrols, training missions, and exercises. It helped create a new generation of Korean submariners. Now, after decades of service, Jang Bogo is ready for a new role. South Korea has offered to transfer it to the Philippines. For the Philippine Navy, this is not just a piece of hardware. It is a symbol of what might be possible in the future, a real submarine at last. So, what makes the Jang Bogo special? Well, it is a diesel-electric submarine, which means it can run quietly on batteries while underwater. At 56 meters long, it's almost as long as 2 basketball courts placed end to end. The submarine is able to dive deeper than 200 meters, way below the reach of most surface ships out there. Its crew consists of about 33 sailors, each one trained for life below the waves. Jang Bogo is armed with 8 torpedo tubes and can also carry mines. Its main job is to patrol, gather intelligence, and defend coastlines. The design actually comes from Germany's Type 209, so it shares a lot with submarines used by navies around the world. It's reliable, well understood, and has been proven in real operations. For the Philippines, these technical details are both exciting and honestly, a bit daunting. This is some pretty advanced technology, especially for a Navy with no previous submarine experience. But starting with a used submarine really makes sense. It's less expensive and less risky than buying new. Overall, it's the perfect stepping stone for a country that's just learning to operate below the waves. The ROKS Jang Bogo isn't just a weapon. More importantly, it's a classroom. Training future submariners is a huge task, and the submarine will become a floating school where Filipino sailors learn how to live, work, and fight underwater. Everything from navigation to repairs is new territory. This training is really about building a tradition because submarine service is totally different from anything the Philippine Navy has done before. Life inside a submarine is intense and demanding. Sailors have to trust each other, follow strict routines, and react calmly to emergencies. It really does take time to build a crew that can operate in the deep. Having a real submarine makes training so much more realistic. Classroom lessons can only go so far, you know? Real experience with real equipment is just priceless. Jang Bogo will teach the basics, how to dive, surface, maintain systems, and handle crises. And in time, this knowledge could spread across the entire Navy. Training on a submarine is not like training on a surface ship. The environment is completely different. Inside a submarine, space is cramped. Every inch is used for machinery, supplies, or equipment. There is little privacy, and everyone must work as a close-knit team. Mistakes can be deadly. The training process is long and demanding. Sailors must learn to operate complex systems, sonar, engines, weapons, and life support. Emergency drills are constant: fire, flooding, and even potential loss of power. Unlike surface ships, submarines cannot just open a hatch if something goes wrong. Every crisis must be managed from within. The mental demands are just as great as the physical ones. Serving on a submarine means spending weeks underwater, out of contact with family and the outside world. Sailors must be mentally tough and capable of working in silence and darkness. Building this kind of team will take patience and careful selection. The possible transfer of Jang Bogo is more than just military hardware. It is the latest sign of a growing partnership between the Philippines and South Korea. Over the years, the two countries have worked closely on defense and security. South Korea has sold the Philippines modern fighter jets, Navy corvettes, and other equipment. This relationship is built on trust and shared interests. Both nations face similar security challenges in Asia. By working together, they can help each other modernize and grow stronger. South Korea's offer to transfer a submarine, and even the promise of a more advanced model in the future, shows real commitment. Joint training, technology transfers, and defense deals have created real benefits for both sides. For the Philippines, tapping into South Korea's experience is a smart way to catch up quickly. The Jang Bogo transfer, if it happens, would be the next step in a partnership that keeps growing. It is important to remember that the submarine deal is not yet confirmed. Talks continue, and details are still being worked out. Officials from both countries are careful not to make promises too soon. But even these early signals matter. They show that both sides are serious about defense cooperation. Rumors like this create momentum. They get people talking and thinking about the future. For the Philippine Navy, these stories are a chance to prepare. Training can begin, plans can be made, and sailors can start to dream. Even if the first submarine is just for training, it is a step that could lead to a real fleet. In the world of defense, small moves often lead to big changes. The excitement around Jang Bogo is just the beginning. The hope is that with South Korea's help, the Philippines can finally join the ranks of submarine operating nations. The possible arrival of ROKS Jang Bogo is more than just a military upgrade. It represents a leap forward for the Philippine Navy. For the first time, Filipino sailors will train and operate below the waves. They will learn new skills and build a tradition that could last for generations. This is not just about technology. It is about confidence, pride, and the ability to defend the nation in new ways. Submarines offer stealth, deterrence, and intelligence capabilities that surface ships cannot match. They will make the Philippine Navy stronger, smarter, and more flexible. If the deal goes forward, it will mark the start of a new era. The Philippines will no longer watch from the sidelines. Instead, it will join its neighbors as a true maritime power. The story of ROKS Jang Bogo may be just the first chapter in a much bigger story, one where the Philippine Navy finally goes beneath the waves and into the future.